Well, hello. Welcome, everybody. It's Friday.
Friday.
Yay! We made it to Friday. Welcome to the Hire Me Live podcast. Today, we're going to talk about shifting your mindset in the job hunt. My name is Heather Balcerek, and I'm here with my fantastic co host, Chris Lin. We are here to help you do all the things. So, yes.
Typical frivolous Friday, Heather. Yeah.
Typical. If you're new to Hire Me, we are two individuals that love helping people, and over the past year, both went through a layoff and a job hunt, and finding new roles, and so we want to give back and elevate today's top talent by a couple different ways. So one of them is doing like little resume interviews, and where we put it up on the podcast platforms and YouTube, and you can share it out. But it's like a little mini introduction to who you are, what you're looking for, what you value, and what you can bring to a company. And they take about 10 minutes, 10, 12 minutes maybe, but it's just a different way for you to get out there. It's also a great way to just practice. Because it's a low pressure situation. It's just us.
Yep.
If you mess up, guess what? We can edit it out.
Yeah.
So, and the other way that we try to help and elevate today's top talent is this live every Friday. We do, I won't say every Friday because we do miss some because, life happens and work and things like that. But we're trying to bring in guests and ideas and thoughts to help those that are job hunting, that are open to work or thinking about being open to work, or navigating the return to office thing. So we just are trying to bring you information. Neither Chris or I are in the talent acquisition recruitment space. We are both L&D professionals. Learning and development professionals, but we have a passion for helping people. And that's a lot of words that I just said, Chris. You say some.
Well, again, yeah. I mean, we're always excited to have conversations on these Fridays, especially to help job hunters really, find ways to navigate the market. And especially since we are in a space right now where we are still in uncertainty, and especially here in the United States this week, we're in a lot of uncertainty. And we'll see what happens after today, this Friday, September 29th. So, yeah. But let's dive in, Heather, because you came to me last week and you're like, for one of our topics, we really need to talk about the importance of mindset and how shifting your mindset as a job seeker can really affect how, like, the opportunities that come your way. So dive in a little bit and share, like, what are you thinking? And, like, let's just go from there.
Yeah, absolutely. So this comes from some different places, right? One of them is just scrolling through LinkedIn and seeing people, posting that they're still looking for a job after, 7 months, 8 months, a year. Like, and the way that they're posting it and what they're putting out there is so hold on, let me give a premise to this. I understand how hard this is. So please do not think I'm not empathetic and understanding of how you feel. So your feelings are valid 100%. But when your mindset is all about, I don't want to say whiny, but it can come across as whiny of like, oh, I haven't found anything. I've done when that's your continuous, you know, attitude you're putting out into the world. That's the face that you're putting onto LinkedIn. That's it, it's not helping you.
It can become a red
It's
flag for employers, right?
yes.
Um, One of the things that they want to see, that employers want to see, is how are you going to bring value into my organization? And we've got a few people here in the chat already, so I just want to
Wow.
call you all out. Courtney, welcome, and Rachel, yes,
Welcome.
very happy to dive into this topic around shifting the mindset, right? And so, if you are joining us, make sure you put your comments and questions in the chat, and we are happy to bring them up and talk about them and all those things as well. But when you talk about individuals who are putting out into the interwebs, the public social platforms, and saying saying that you are unable to find things over and over and over again, it is
Okay.
becomes a red flag for employers. And again, I was definitely in that space earlier this year. I felt yeah, and Heather, I know you were too,
Yeah.
and I felt hopeless, like, so frustrated. I felt like I couldn't do anything. I felt w literally, I felt worthless, like, I wasn't worth anything for me to even get a phone call for a screen, right? There were definitely some weeks where like, stretches of weeks where it's like, I didn't hear my phone ring at all, and it's tough. The thing that Heather and I wanted to talk about was like, well, how do you shift that so you can get more coming your way? And I think that there's a difference between what you put out publicly and what you process internally, right? Or process in private. Not saying that you shouldn't process and have the ability and chance to vent and do all of those things either with yourself or with close friends, family, previous coworkers. It's really, again, if you are constantly putting out there that you are unable to accomplish something or unable to, not, I won't say accomplish, but you are unable to get an interview, not only does it say that to employers that you are not self sufficient, that you are not able to solve problems, it actually says, it puts out out to me, it puts out the red flag. There is something wrong and I am not able to get hired.
Yeah.
It's yeah, so I mean, there's so many layers to it. So, like, again, for those
There
of
are.
you in the chat, please, like, tell us, like, what do you wanna talk about? Kai, yes, fake it till you make it. That's something that
Yeah.
you can definitely put out there, yeah.
So I think about like my own journey here and kind of what shifted for me and when things started to turn around in my job search. Getting laid off it's never easy. It's always going to be a shock to your system. There's always going to be a transition time of like, oh no, what do I have to do? I need to focus on me and getting myself ready to put myself back out there. But for me, once I took a step back, about a month into my job search and was like, "Okay, wait a minute. I am so focused on myself. I need to take that pressure off. I'm not gonna stop applying to jobs. I'm not gonna stop doing, but I need to take the pressure off me. How can I go and do something for the we, for the other people?" And once I started kind of putting things out there that were helpful, not just for me, but for other people, and that mindset shifted, that's when things started to happen. And and I think that's the piece, right? If you're putting the things you're posting on social, you're posting on LinkedIn, which is fantastic. By the way, I think right now the algorithm likes you to post once a day. Once a day. If you post more than that, you're going against yourself.
It's a
So
lot.
but,
Yeah,
I mean, there's times I wanna post, like, 3 or 4 times a day because I see good things and I want to share them. I'm like, "Mm-mm, can't, once a day." So make that post count. Don't make the post about the negative. Make it about the positive, because even if you're job searching, you can still be doing things. If you've got a LinkedIn Premium account and you're doing stuff on LinkedIn Learning, share what you're learning. Put that stuff out there. And it's not necessarily maybe like a fake it till you make it, but it's a shift, right? It's a, here's what I'm doing versus here's what's not happening. Here's what I'm not doing. Getting jobs, getting calls, right? Here's what I am
Yeah.
doing.
Yeah.
I'm upping my game. I'm learning new things. Um, and then I'm sharing that out with other people to help other people as
Yeah.
well. Does that hopefully that makes sense?
Yeah, I was it actually popped into my head as you were saying, fake it till you make it. I'm like, please excuse this. It literally popped into my head. It could be taken in a different direction, but grow it and show it, right? Like grow yourself, show how you're growing, show how you're bringing value, show how you can solve problems and show it to the world,
Yes.
right? And while that might not seem like you are shifting your own mindset, it is showing everyone else that you are. And one of the things that I think is also very critical beyond just posting every day is take 15 minutes and just go through your feed and comment on every post to say this was really valuable, this is my 2 cents.
Yeah.
Awesome. Next post. Great post. Here's my 2 cents. Because again, what you're showcasing, not just LinkedIn or not just the algorithm, but you're also showcasing other people who might look at your profile that, hey, this person has value and is looking to contribute
Yeah.
in some way. And that contribution, whether it is solving a problem, but at least you're contributing, showcases, hey, this person can come in and be of value to us as an organization.
Yeah. And and I don't like there were some specific things like that I've seen lately that have made me kind of have this like, wait a minute, like made me want to have this talk. And it's individuals that you when you've been job searching for a long time and it's very frustrating and you're very upset and we understand. But when you start to go, I'm just going to post about myself every day.
Hmm.
I mean, okay, but are you like how are you posting about it? Are you
Yeah.
posting the things you're learning? Are you promoting yourself in that way to show that you're continually learning even though you're not working? Hey, I'm still doing things to better myself versus, I'm, look at me, I've done these things in the past and you should hire me because of these things. Well, okay, great. You can tell them that in an interview.
Yeah.
um, and I think that's where, like, when I was looking across some things that it kind of hit me, um, of like, wait a minute, like I think some people are thinking about this in the wrong way. Um,
Yeah. And Courtney says, I try to think about how I can use my current state as an interview example in the future. That is a great way to shift your
yes,
mindset for sure. Um, so working backwards from my desired result, that is fantastic. That is such a great tip. Again, like we are not the state that we're in, or you all are in as job seekers, is you are in a state of problem solving and in a state of crisis. How do you resolve this state of crisis? Right? And that can be used in so many different ways in future job interviews, right? How did you resolve it? Or how did you continue to push through it? How did you grow, right? One of the things that is really hard for any interviewer or hiring manager to measure is grit, resilience. How are you doing that? Right. And that is so important. And I think that that demonstrates a whole nother level of characteristic that you uh, may not be able to showcase as a hard technical skill, but it is still a valued skill regardless.
hmm
Rachel says, mindset shift. Whoa, mindset shift. So sorry. Mindset shift for me. That was bound to happen at some point. For me, was seen again and opening myself up again. Informational interviews and just widening my network during this job search has felt like a great investment in addition to certifications, learning, apps, because I know there isn't a lot of capacity to do during a full-time job. That is so true as well.
Yes.
Making friends and relationships and being vulnerable and positive in the journey. I can't wait to celebrate with the same people. And Rachel, don't worry, you blocked our faces.
Yes.
We can always like peek over.
We're like Wilson from Home Improvement. I
Yeah.
probably just aged myself there.
Yeah,
Dated
do that.
myself
Yeah.
a little
Th-
bit.
yeah, I mean, there's so many things that you can do. And one of those things, going back to what Kai said about faking it till you make it, is if you do just start working on yourself, just start learning and growing. There's a whole psychology around that I know Heather and myself are very aware of as learning and development professionals, is like being open to learn and grow also expands the ability to be creative. It expands your it reduces, I should say, your fear base, because the only way that you can accept new information is if you're in a psychologically safe space to be able to accept new information. If you are in a mental state of crisis and fear, you cannot absorb and take new information. And so if you try to force yourself to make that shift to learn and grow, you will start moving away from that fear base.
Yeah. I think about, as you're talking, Chris, it pops into my head like the concept of fixed versus growth mindset that people talk about. If you're in a fixed mindset, you're like, this is what it is. This is all it's ever going to be. This is just same thing every day. Versus a growth mindset of being like, hey, there's opportunity to learn some more stuff. There's opportunity for me to get better or to shift or whatever. It's really the difference maker in a lot of things, because your mindset does so much for you. And I know sometimes people are like, that's woo woo, Heather. Just stick with me for a second. I promise it's not woo woo. But but your mindset, that kind of in that track in your head where you're looking, comes out of your mouth in the words that you say, in the tone that you say it. And that makes a difference, because when you're talking to a recruiter, you're talking to, somebody new that you're networking with, that you think, oh, maybe one day I can go work for their company. If your tone and your verbiage is in that negative space, that's not going to open up the door. But if it is warm and engaging and interested and curious about them and about growing, it's a completely different type of relationship and conversation.
Yeah.
um and then I have another thing I'll round back to, but Chris, do you have anything else? Do you have anything on that piece, what I just talked about?
Yeah, I mean, the thing that keeps coming to my mind is like the importance to not cross the line and take it too far and move, like cross the line into toxic positivity,
Yes.
right? Like being positive is one thing, being toxically positive by definition is being positive no matter what, right? Like being in a job seeking state is difficult. It is tough mentally and physically, because right, like you may be at risk of losing your house or being like losing your visa, those sort of things. And it's so important to acknowledge those things and say, okay, well, what can I do despite these kind of issues? Not ignore it, right? And so do I need to pick up a side hustle? Do I need to do some or side job, part-time job, while I can address some other things? Chris, welcome. Just want to say, Chris White, welcome.
Hey,
Um,
Chris.
I owe you something, I know. So I'll send that over. I'll get that published. Rachel says, side tip, but a safe space I make in the day is just to pull out my guitar. Oh my gosh, I love this. Or my sister's piano and goof off. For some people, another creative outlet. and
Mm.
give a mind a place to rest in it all too. Yes. I think we've had several guests over the last few weeks, Heather, that have said self-care. You
Yes.
need to give yourself space as a job seeker to just get away from the job hunt
Yeah.
because it is mentally and emotionally taxing.
Hmm.
So that self-care piece is so important. And whether it is a creative outlet, like Rachel said, or some other way, definitely take that time to take care of your mental and emotional health, and also maybe like boost that creativity that you have, whatever that might be.
Yeah. Oh gosh, I have so many things in my brain. I want to go back to something because when Courtney commented a minute ago about like working backwards from the desired result, right? How is she going to use where she is right now as an interview example? And I think I've shared this on here before, but I'll share it again because, I never know who's going to watch this and when they're going to watch it and who needs it. When you have that question of, well, why are you looking for something? Right? Like that's a question you might get asked in some form or fashion when you're in an interview. And if you're not in the right mindset, you're going to come across as like, well, I was laid off from that company and they're just terrible, blah, blah. You're going to word vomit that thing.
Hmm.
Whereas if you, number one, you should write this out. You should script this out for yourself. But like I just pulled up mine. So this was my answer when I interviewed for why are you looking for a new role? It was, I was a part of the Amazon reduction in January that was announced via the media. My team was eliminated. My previous position gave me the opportunity to grow into a training manager and focus my passion for leadership development. And I've used this unexpected time to continue my education in leadership development through online courses, networking, articles, etc. Like that's a
That's so good.
totally different shift.
Yes.
So, and it, again, I wrote it down because I can't remember that. It's on a spreadsheet. Come on.
Please,
Uh,
please write it down. I cannot tell you right now. I'm on a couple interview panels right now, and I will say this week I heard there's one manager who has been asking in the panels, why are you looking at this role right now? And one individual came back and essentially put his entire, like everyone that was in his role on blast and said, this role, like I'm beneath this role, or I'm above this role. And I was just like, that is not the right answer. Please write these things down. Please.
yes, yes.
Sorry, that was a tangent, but yes, please write your answers down.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, this is one of those things. Back when I started working remote in 2015, um, it's I would always tell people, I'm like, if you're interviewing virtually, like have your notes on the computer, have them written down on a piece of paper. They can't see you, nor do they probably care.
Yeah.
I, I certainly don't care. I'm like, please, like have your notes. I want you to feel prepared because if you're prepared, then you're going to do better than if you were sitting there going, "Oh, I remember all my notes," and you're nervous, and because interviews bring nerves.
Yes.
Um, gosh, there was something else you had said earlier, Chris, that I was like, "Ooh, oh, I want to talk about that," and then like I now forgot it
Sorry.
because it's how it goes. It's how because you said so many good things, Chris. That's the
Well, so
thing.
did you. Like this is the beauty of having a co-host.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
Um, but I think that you know having someone like Rachel just talked about that, like that safe space, a place for you to, go and be creative, step away. I think sometimes when your when you're looking for a job, it can create more anxiety to step away and be like, but I may miss that one job that comes up and then 10,000 people apply and I'm never going to get seen. I mean, I know, trust me, I know. I can tell you, let it go. It's very easy to say, hard to do. I get it. I was at Disney World going, okay, applying for jobs while I'm waiting on a ride. Because I was so scared that I would miss something.
Yeah.
And it- but just know that it's okay to step away and you know what? If you missed that when that job was posted, but you see it tomorrow, you can still apply.
Yeah.
I
And
mean,
I you saying that right now reminded me of, again, like I think when you and I connected, I was what, like 3 or 4 months into being having been laid off. And I would literally be on my run, right? And do it like in the middle of like a 30-40 minute run and just all of a sudden start panicking. And this happened several times.
oh,
And I would literally whip out my phone because like I'm just carrying my phone for safety, right? I'll just whip it out, pause my run on my watch, and go on LinkedIn and then just start apply because I was freaking out in that moment during my run. And what we've heard, again, I'll go back to, some of the guests that we've had previously, is that is not the right strategy. Shotgunning your application and your resume everywhere is not the right approach. Because the
mm-mm.
other thing that you're doing too is you're not you're just throwing it out there, and because you're thinking it's a quantity game and you're not hearing back because you're not employing the right tactics to apply for those roles, that means you're going to have more rejections. You're going to have more ghosting. You're going to have more people not reply to you because you just threw it all out there. And because again, if you throw out 20 that are not tailored to the role and you hear back zero, that in your head is that's 20 jobs that don't want me.
Yeah.
So again, be very targeted, take care of your mental health, take care of your creativity, focus on growing and adding value into the community or into the industry that you're in, whether that's on social media, that's in different groups. There's a lot of local groups. Rachel, yeah, absolutely. It's really, really difficult to process. I still remember those emotions quite well.
Yeah. So we have a couple of things. 'Cause I know it's about time for us to wrap up. How does it go so fast? Oh my goodness gracious. Um, so Courtney asked here, she said, how much should you share in the tell me a little bit about you? And then she clarified personal life, recent career experience, wondering if there's a good template. And absolutely, Courtney, there is. There is a video, and I will I can send you the link to it. But if you go on YouTube and type in how to answer the question, tell me about yourself, Christine versus work. So, or probably tell me about yourself, Christine versus work. It's from the Harvard Business Review. That is the best video and way to outline the tell me about yourself question that I have ever seen. It is the one that I used, and it works beautifully. Just yeah.
I have not seen this video. I'll just give my 2 cents here is I always take them on a very quick journey of where I've started, who I am now, and where I want to go. And the way that I always start that is by sharing my purpose, which is that I want to ensure everyone is successful no matter what role they're in or what role they want to go into. And I say how I got to that purpose and then where I want to take that. So if you can do that, if you can take them on the journey of like who you are and what you want to contribute or where you want to go, that will show that alignment and what value you bring to the organization. Yeah, and it looks like Courtney put
Oh,
that
good.
link in there.
Popped in
Fantastic.
there. Thank you, Courtney.
Yeah.
Um, and
Rachel
then
might have a topic for us for the future.
I know I was just about to say that. Oh, so most insightful questions or easiest pitfalls on interviewing. I mean, Rachel, we've talked about that in some form or fashion, but we'll talk about it again because it's always a topic that's relevant. Um, so, but yeah, that's Chris, we got 30 seconds till we hit 30
All right.
minutes. You want to close this out today since I, talked a lot at the beginning
Oh, you're all good.
about
All good. Well,
randomness.
thank you all so much for joining us today, this Friday, on the Hire Me Podcast live show. Great conversations from you all. Great to hear from you all. Again, we do this every Friday, 10 a.m. Pacific, 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern. I didn't know if I said AM or PM.
You almost said AM.
Every Friday, every Friday. Um, Heather is on the East Coast. I'm on the West Coast. Again, we are here to elevate today's top talents for all of those who are job hunting. So if you are job hunting and you want to find a way to stand out, make sure you sign up for a free video resume where we interview you on the podcast. Heather's got her link. I've got mine. You can scan that QR code and get your free video resume from us. Again, it takes 15 minutes. It's a 10-minute interview, and you'll be able to send that to any recruiter, hiring team, or hiring manager to show that extra level of depth that they may not see on your application. The other thing, as always, make sure you subscribe to us on YouTube and LinkedIn. We are all here. Make sure you do all that. That way you can connect with other people who are coming on our show, as well as get tuned into all of these shows that we do every Friday. Again, 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific. Again, my name is Chris Lin. Joined with me, as always, is my amazing co-host, Heather. Thank you so much and have a great week.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.